You've heard it and maybe you believe it. Nice guys finish last. The man who is kind, present, and gentle is the one that gets friend-zoned. Yet the man who doesn't call back, who treats her like crap, is the one that they chase after, the one that keeps her interested. The man, however, who makes himself available gets taken for granted. So then you start drawing the conclusion. Maybe I need to make myself tougher, make myself cooler. I need to make myself more closed off, less available, less invested. You think maybe the problem is that I care too much. But here is what's actually going on. And I promise you, it's not what society has been telling you. It's not even what you have been thinking. Hi, welcome to the Dating Rulebook is Wrong series. I'm Mariana, dating and relationship coach. And today we are going to talk about the nice guy versus the bad boy dichotomy. And we're going to discuss what women actually mean when they say they want a good guy, and also what's behind that attraction to difficult men. Let's get honest. This belief that nice guys finish last has done so much damage, and I don't say that lightly, because on one end, it has produced men who perform niceness, who are accommodating and agreeable, not because they genuinely feel that way, but because they have been taught that's what gets rewarded. However, on the other end, it's produced men who deliberately suppress genuine care and warmth in an attempt to seem edgier or cooler, more detached, more alpha, if you will. And guess what? Neither works. Not this end, not the other. And the reason that neither of those work, the choice is not between being nice or being attractive and alluring. The real answer lies in sitting in between those two extremes. And guess what? That gap, that in between, has a name. It's called being a grounded, authentic, self-respecting man who also happens to be kind, who happens to be genuine, who happens to be vulnerable. Here is what this nice guys finish last belief is actually observing. Look, sometimes genuinely nice men do get looked over. That part, unfortunately, is very real. I've seen it happen. I'm sure you have too. Maybe it's happened to you. But here is where the observation gets wrong. It's almost never the kindness that's the problem. What's actually happening is this. The man who gets passed on often has a specific cluster of traits that have nothing to do with his kindness. He's simply unclear about what he actually wants. He doesn't pursue directly, or he pursues with the energy of, I don't believe I'm enough. I'm insecure about myself, and women feel that energy. So what happens when a man approaches it with that energy? He becomes a man who agrees with everything that she says. Why? Because he's afraid of what disagreeing will cost him. What he does is he puts this woman on a pedestal, and in the middle of that, he abandons his own needs, his preferences, and overall his standards in that whole process. And those traits, that lack of directness, the absence of self-respect, the absence of confidence, that energy is what makes him unattractive. The kindness is fine. The kindness is not the problem. It's everything around it that's the problem. The good news is that all of that is fixable. None of those traits are permanent. They're simply learned behaviors, or they're a cause of maybe you getting hurt in the past or getting rejected in the past. So now you have this lack mentality of, if this next woman isn't it, I'm never going to find anybody. So you're already approaching with this, I lack something within myself. You're going to fear disagreeing with her in any sort of way because you don't want to lose her. You don't want to ruin your chances of finding a partner. But all of that can be unlearned when you work within. Now, let's talk about why certain women are attracted to quote unquote difficult men, right? The bad boys. This is often where people focus on as proof that women don't actually want the nice guys. Because why? That woman keeps going back to the guy that repeatedly hurt her. She's not interested in the stable, nice one. So what is that about? Here's the honest answer. Emotional unavailability will always trigger anxious attachment. We all know this. When someone is inconsistent, sometimes warm, sometimes cold, sometimes present, sometimes detached, it activates a part of the nervous system that mistakes intensity with chemistry. And that uncertainty creates this emotional charge. And for those who grow up in a home that lacks that stability, that sort of energy can feel like home. So that is not evidence that kindness and being nice is unattractive. That is just evidence that there's people who have unresolved attachment wounds that keep pulling them to people that are familiar, to people in their past, to things that they're used to. But the women who are doing the work, who understand their patterns, who want to break the toxic cycles, who want something better for themselves, something healthier for themselves, they are not attracted to the bad boys and the chaos. Frankly, they find it exhausting. What they're drawn to is groundedness, someone who actually knows how to communicate, who knows how to show up consistently. So then that brings me to my next point. What does it mean when women say, I want a good guy? When a woman says she wants a good man, what she actually means has nothing to do with doormat behavior, what I described earlier. A guy who always agrees with her, a guy who will put her up on this pedestal and see himself as less than. That's not what they want. So let me get very specific here. She means she wants a man who knows what he wants and can pursue it with conviction. A man who has opinions of his own and is not afraid to share them with her, even if it goes against her own opinions. A man who can hold himself with dignity in those difficult moments, in those arguments. He doesn't crumble, he doesn't lash out, he doesn't retreat, he doesn't disappear when things get hard. A man who is warm and caring without using that as leverage later on as to why you owe him something, okay? He gives that freely, right? Because he cares, because he is warm, not because he's trying to get something. So again, it's confidence, groundedness, self-awareness, directness, being real. And guess what? None of that requires being unkind. All of it does require being secure. It all goes down to that inner security, that inner confidence, that inner power that you are comfortable in being who you are. And listen, a secure man who is genuinely, authentically kind, that combination does not finish last. That combination is what emotionally healthy women are looking for in a partner. And let me touch on this stereotypical nice guy. Here's what the problem is with that. And here's what most people don't want to hear. But listen, I'm going to say it anyway because I always want to be honest with you all and I'm here to help you. The stereotypical nice guy is not actually a nice guy. There is frequently suppressed resentment underneath that niceness. Why? Because their kindness is transactional. He's being agreeable, accommodating, available, not because he genuinely feels generous though, but because he is expecting a specific outcome. Affection, attention, a relationship, sex, something. He is wanting something in return. And here's the important part. When that outcome doesn't come, that nice guy thing turns off. The resentment surfaces very, very quickly. So a nice guy will say something like, I was the perfect gentleman. I did everything for her and she still chose that other guy. That's the transaction failing, right? You should not expect an award for being kind. And women, a lot of women are very intuitive, so they feel that calculation. Maybe not always consciously, but they feel that. It doesn't feel like real warmth to them because it's not real warmth. It's essentially strategy wearing that kindness as a costume. And listen, the moment they don't get what they want, the strategy stops working, that costume falls off very quickly. I can't say this enough. A man who is genuinely kind, genuinely confident, emotionally available, sure of himself, he is not finishing last. That man is finishing first with the women who are actually doing the work, who know what they want, who aren't trying to reenact the familiar chaos of an anxious childhood, of past relationships. The women who are in a good place and are ready to be in healthy relationships exist. So many of them out there. So this nice guy finish last belief, it's almost an incomplete analysis of an incomplete situation because it strictly just looks at kindness and misses everything else. It's not looking at the absence of self-respect, the transactional nature of the kindness and warmth. It's not looking at the lack of confidence and directness. So then it draws the wrong conclusion and it leads men down the wrong path. So if you recognize yourself in any of this, I don't want you to feel shame about it. This is not why I make these videos. It's not about pouring more shame into yourself, but it's saying, okay, I recognize, I see myself in that and I want to fix it. So the question you have to ask yourself is, what is actually happening that is making me less attractive than I could be? That question helps you get specific to look into yourself and maybe the women you have been chasing. Maybe the problem is who you've been going after. Right? Maybe you're going after really emotionally unavailable women who are constantly seeking chaos. Are you going to be able to form a healthy relationship with somebody like that? Those are the questions you should be thinking about. So here's the reframe. Here's what I want you to take away from this. Don't be less kind. Be more confident. Be more sure of yourself. Look deep within and figure out how you can be the best you that you can be. Have opinions. Share them. Pursue what you want directly and without apology. When something bothers you, say it clearly, calmly. When you're interested in someone, tell her. Don't orbit and hope she picks up on it. Know your value without needing it to be constantly confirmed by other people. So that combination, warmth with a backbone, care with confidence, kindness without self-abandonment, is what emotionally mature women are looking for, are attracted to. And when you have it, you will not be finishing last. I can promise you that. Before you go, comment below. Do you agree or disagree? Do you actually believe that nice guys finish last? I want to hear your thoughts. Comment below. And if you want to build the kind of genuine confidence and authenticity that makes you genuinely compelling, book a strategy call with me. All my links are below. All right, I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.